Welcome back. And I honestly could not think of a better way to round out day four. I will read her bio in a second, but Martha Brown has been my sister from another mister, my best friend. We have had TV shows together. I've been trying to convince her to do a podcast with me. We have shared hotel rooms and she has heard me snore. Just an amazing, amazing woman. And everything that you're going to hear from her today is from her heart. So now that I'm done gushing, I'm going to read you her bio because Martha, I love you. You know that.
I love you too.
As a seasoned integrative business and lifestyle coach for ambitious mompreneurs, Martha blends innovative strategies with compassionate guidance to help women navigate that intricate dance of growing a successful business while nurturing a family life. And you can see why she was hand selected, not only, for this book, for all the books, and as such a resource, right, for you. And you may be thinking, oh, this sounds pretty cool. And it's exactly what I need. So her background is rich in technology, productivity, wellness. She has dedicated her career to transforming overwhelmed moms into thriving business leaders. And her unique approach not only elevates visibility and client engagement, but also ensures the personal fulfillment. And that word has come up so many times during this summit.
Mhm.
And I hope you're seeing the connection. Your family joy will not be compromised in the pursuit of professional success. Martha, where were you 10 years ago?
Figuring it all out,
I
right?
love it. I love it. So, um, I guarantee you, based on, our listener right now, you have hit and struck a nerve with so many. So I really want to dive right in because I've got some juicy questions for you that I think will help our listener really tap into your genius. Because like you said, you were figuring it out. You have figured it out. Now you're not only living it for yourself, but you're helping these moms really get back on that path of reclaiming their power. So my first question is, are you willing to, and I'm going to force you if you say no, but I want you to share a little bit of the inspiration behind your chapter.
Yeah.
Yours is clarity in the chaos, crafting the leverage lifestyle and legacy that fits you. How appropriate. And I want to know how that reflects your personal journey as a mompreneur.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for having me here, first of all. But really, it's my own experience, right? So I feel like that's where most of our stories come from. Most of our journey comes from is from our beginning to where we are now. It's not that end, but it's like, what have I learned through my experiences? And it's finding that clarity in the chaos, right? My life is still chaotic. I'd like to say that, oh, yeah, it's calm, it's smooth sailing every day. But you know what? It's not. I have three young kiddos at home running around in activities. Something comes up all the time, running a business, all these things happen. And it's about being able to see through that chaos, be able to take those deep breaths, to find the clarity, and then to keep building this life that I want, even when that hustle's going on and we're, running around. And then it's learning to prioritize what truly matters. And it could be different for everybody, right? Like for me, it's leveraging my personal growth. It's like taking those moments with my family and it's building that legacy. And that's where it all came around for me that goes beyond my business success. So, what is it that I want for people to remember me by? What is it that mission is? And it's for me to them to know that it is possible to have it all if you want it all. It's just
Mm.
figuring out how you can work it for yourself.
Who doesn't want that? I mean, everywhere I turn over the last year, I hear Martha, 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 Martha. You're in circles. I didn't even know you were in. I'm like, she is out there. And it's not only because you're as awesome as you are, truly, but it's because this is such a needed thing. Entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, especially, we're trying to figure that out. We're trying to figure out how to blend that time with our kiddos so that we don't have the mom guilt, But then when we're with the kids, we're trying to figure out, how do I get that productivity in so I don't have the work guilt? And we're stuck somewhere in the middle. So
Yes.
I really love that you've brought this to the table. But to go deeper in your chapter, because you discuss refining success and leverage in a mompreneur's life. So
Yes.
could you expand on how shifting focus from external achievements to internal resources has impacted your approach to business, not only business, but personal well-being?
Yeah, I love that. So, it's so easy to get caught up in all the things that are going on outside of us. And that's where we can get into that compare-itis
Mm.
mode of I'm not doing enough. Oh, look at this mom. She's able to have a very clean house and she bakes everything from scratch and she
Are
is
we in the
running
50s?
a multi-million-dollar business, right? And her kids are always on point. Their outfits match all the time. And not only do they match their outfits, pants, shirt, whatever, but they match each other. And the whole family does, right? Like it's that picture perfect family. And when we focus so much on that, then we start to take away from ourselves. And so it's starting to, when I start to look at, what some of our internal resources are, and not just for me, but for other moms out there, is things like resilience. I mean, think of how much resilience you build up being a mom itself, not even just a business owner, but a mom, and getting through those everyday battles, right? They happen every day. And the creativity and the empathy. And like those are the three things that really have changed for me, and where I have to look inward for to help me when I'm solving problems. That way I can be creative in what works for us. It talks about thinking outside of the box. And that's where, when I start to shift into what resources I know I have within myself, then it starts to take away that guilt. It starts to be
Mm.
in alignment with what I want for other people and how I want to live my life, and show my kids how, you know, how they can do this going forward too.
Okay, so one thing we've been talking about in the summit is self-accountability.
Mhm.
And for me personally, it's just my personal opinion. I don't think that works. I think that you need accountability from someone who's not yourself. So my question for you is, in those internal resources of empathy and all the things, for me, that feels like it could take some serious constraint.
Yes.
So what has that look like? Or is this a self-taught thing? Have you had external resources to help you with those internal resources? Because I know they're wondering right now.
Right? Absolutely. So there are, like, it's working with a coach has helped me do that, reading different books. So it's like there's all of these great tools out there that we can use, but it's figuring out what works for us. Right. And you're right. Like accountability, I feel like that is another way that can look different for everybody. So,
Yeah.
and it also depends on what the space is. Like I'm in sobriety. I don't keep that hidden. I'm in recovery. And so I have accountability for that part too, right? I have my sponsor. I have all of those different things. That's my accountability to help me in my sobriety. No matter how many years I have, it's still knowing that there's that little bit of accountability. I've built up my internal resources, but I have that also. Same thing with my business, having a coach and all these, masterminds, these groups, my other business friends, my friends like you, right?
Mhm.
Those are all different things that help too. And same thing with having other moms of busy kids. So it's like finding that community and those circles of people that can help with that is so important.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for answering, period. But thank you for answering the way that you did so honestly, because when you talk about compare-itis, I think that when we talk about your internal resources, if you're a mom listening and you may be thinking, because of that fear of judgment, I might not be in the position where I'm brave or willing to raise my hand and say, but I'm still lacking that and I don't know how to develop it. So if you know who those safe humans are, or those safe resources are that you can go to, Martha Brown being one of the
Yep.
best resources you can go to. That's why I wanted to ask. And then the other thing is, when you were talking about these picture perfect families and these picture perfect moms, right? I see them on social media. And for me, Martha, the first thing I think is, oh my God, they must be miserable inside,
Yeah.
because there's not any one of us that can function with a perfectly clean house and a perfectly put together everything aesthetically. That's exhausting. And I can only imagine that would lead to burnout.
Yes.
And burnout is a very common challenge for so many entrepreneurs, but especially moms. So,
Mhm.
what strategies do you recommend for first recognizing those early signs of burnout? Because I think you're fabulous at teaching this. And then, how can someone listening take those proactive steps to mitigate that burnout?
So, gosh, it is. Thank you. So, burnout is a scary thing, right? And I think depending on who you talk to, some people are like, burnout doesn't exist. It's not anything true, right? And then you have other people who are like, "Oh, I live in burnout all the time." But burnout, that's where shifting happens, I feel like. So, I mean, I still get overwhelmed with things. I still get stressed out about things. Things happen that, and I know, so many other people do. But it's when we live in that overwhelm and we're not proactive in being self-aware. So part of it is about being aware of these little things that are happening to us or for us in the moment, and I'll talk about what those are here in a second to help make that shift. Because when we're aware of that, when we're in the overwhelm, it can stop it from going to the burnout, where most of the time in that burnout stage, we don't want to do anything, right?
Mhm.
It's like we get into this place of we just want to lay in bed, put the covers over our head. And I'm not talking about for an hour, I'm talking about for days, right? I mean, there's some days that I'm just like, okay, this day can be over. I just want to go to bed. And I go to bed at 8 o'clock at night. And that's okay. We need that too. But I'm talking about not wanting to get up in the morning. You're noticing these huge changes in your mood, your energy levels, your satisfaction with work. You're not having that joy anymore. You're not wanting to spend that time with your kids. And so when you start feeling those things and you're feeling them constantly and consistently, and you're angry and all that all the time, that's when that burnout is starting to creep in. And so that's where having some strategies before you get there can really help, such as setting boundaries. That's really hard for some of us to do, right? But setting those boundaries, being able to say, no, this does not work for me right now, is huge. So knowing what your values are and seeing with wherever you're setting your boundaries are they in line?
Mhm.
Is whatever somebody asking you is in line with what your values are? If the answer is no, you say no and practice that muscle. It's delegating tasks to other people. Is there chores that your kids can do to help you out? Is there someone you can hire to help you with some different things with your business? Um, and this is the other thing too, which here we go, the self-care thing, but taking regular breaks for self-care. It doesn't have to be huge. I talk about this. 5 minutes a day, take a little bit of breathing space for yourself. When you get in that overwhelm, especially when it's nice out, something I love to do is I start breathing and then I go walk outside. I take off my shoes and I walk barefoot in the grass. It's a great grounding exercise, and it just helps that little bit of self care, which takes like 2 minutes. I mean, really. Or if you need to bump up your energy, turn on the music, dance around, whatever that is. And then the other thing that I think is important too, that I know moms, and I know that I've done it too, is it's so easy to get wrapped up in our world of going between work and being a mom, right? So, like, those are only two spaces, but we have to have space for ourselves. So, having hobbies, activities, or something that like that outside of work that rejuvenates you, that lifts you
Mhm.
up. So,
That's awesome. I love how you explain this. If you're listening right now, we know what red flags are. We know what those warning signs are. And Martha just did a phenomenal job at kind of laying out your red flag system. And think of it like that, like, whoa, these red flags are popping up. These are my warning signs. And I'll disagree with you on one thing. When you
mhm,
said it's hard to set boundaries, it's actually quite easy to set the boundaries, but
yeah,
it's hard to honor those boundaries. And that's
yes,
where you come in. That's where you come in. So I want
yes,
to talk real quick because obviously you brought a gift for our friends. And your giveaway is the Peak Performance Pack. And it doesn't seem like a fantastic resource. It is a fantastic resource for anyone looking to enhance, one, their productivity, and two, their well-being, because those are equally important. So can you tell us a little bit more about what's included in this pack and how it can help that mompreneur achieve that peak performance?
Oh gosh, yes. So it's a whole bundle here going on for you, right? So I have different tools in there for your time management, for stress reduction techniques, and just really resources to help maintain that physical and mental health. So it's really about helping mompreneurs, but really anybody trying to figure it all out, trying to figure out that work-life balance, which, if you know, in book 2, I said perfect balance is BS. But so it's figuring out that blend of how to do that, right? So that way you can manage your energy wisely and ensure that healthy work-life integration, which is what I like to call it. So um, really, it has a thing to help you set up your morning routine. It has a workshop on productivity tips and time management. It has annual planner in there so you can plan both your life stuff out as well as your business. It has weekly activities as well as daily activities. It has a whole workbook in there for to set up your whole week for to be more productive. Brain dumps, all that kind of stuff in there, as well as lots of other PDF and tips and all that good stuff too. So
You always over deliver. That's insane. That is amazing. Look, friend, the link to this peak performance pack is literally right below this video. In a minute, not right now, click that link and take advantage of this. I mean, I wish, I really do wish I had this bundle years ago. This is book 2. It's How to Restore That Balance and Blend. And Martha Brown is right here on page 19. So I would grab that and I would grab this book. You know, this is an extension of her time with you today. That peak performance pack is the next logical thing. So, you know, I want to wrap this up with kind of looking ahead a little bit. How do you see the principles of leverage, lifestyle, and legacy evolving for mompreneurs? Because let's face it, today is extremely fast paced, especially in the digital world. So what's your kind of prediction?
well, I think in like every area, there's a little bit something that we need to do. So, right. So, like, let's talk about leverage. There are so many amazing tools out there at our fingertips. It can be overwhelming with like the sea of tools. And I am a tool junkie, self-proclaimed.
I love that about you. You're my go-to.
Right? Like I like to try all the things, but it's about, using those to help you be more efficient with your time. So that way you can spend that time with your family or with those hobbies or that type of stuff, as well as, using it to help, this is where your lifestyle comes in, right? That work life blend that we talk about. And that's where those tools can also help you do that. And then leaving that legacy, whatever that is for you, and living those values that you have every day. And that's where your legacy will just keep going forward for you. And so, even when things shift with the digital age and all these new things, when you know in your core what your values are and what lifestyle you want and what leverage you're using and what your legacy that you want to leave is, that will stay the same. Just how you do it may change a little bit and
Mm,
get better, right? We practice things so we can get better at them.
that's
So,
so great. I've used this analogy a lot, but I love it. And I think we can all relate, especially as mamas. You
yeah.
know, Adriana loves to bowl. And she always has to have the bumpers up on both sides. So,
Mhm.
you know, whether you're grabbing Martha's peak performance pack, whether you reach out and have a conversation with her, she's those bumpers for you as that busy mama, right? You're on task. And finding those internal resources, honoring those boundaries, developing the productivity plan, looking at the tools that can help you leverage your life and your business can be overwhelming. And I wasn't kidding. I will reach out to Martha first and be like, what do I do for this? How do I get this? What's this tool? How do I use it? She's a freaking ninja, and she's really walking the walk, not just talking the talk here. So I wish we could continue this conversation forever because it's so needed. Friends, I will convince her someday to host a podcast with me. I'm telling you right now.
We'll do it. I'm all good.
But for now, grab that link below, download the Peak Performance Pack, and then, reach out to Martha, have a conversation. She won't bite. She's very friendly, and what a great resource. So thank you for not just your time today, but for sharing the way that you did, because I think every mompreneur really needs to hear this. And thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
My pleasure. And that, my friends, is a wrap of day 4. And I told you the best note to end on. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.